I'm Kira and welcome to or back to the Yoga Corner. Today we have one of our under 10 minutes yoga classes focusing on a particular part of the body that we think needs a little bit more love, and today we're focusing on the feet, specifically the toes, but the feet in general are the parts of our body that really carry us through most of our yoga practice. We're working through lots of balances and specific poses where we're strengthening and finding a lot of power through those legs, and the feet are at the base of every single one of those positions. So today we're going to be giving those feet a little bit of love and trying to maybe focus our attention on the individual parts of the feet a little bit more, finding a little bit more of connection to how we can shift the weight around and really wake up those different parts of the feet to find a little bit more focus and precision with balances in future yoga classes. So we are going to get started standing up at the tops of our mats. I want you to really look down towards your feet and just notice how they are positioned on your mat, how you've naturally placed them. And then once you've noticed that, just see whether you can shift it so that your feet are about hips width distance apart. And then just really play around with the balance on your feet. Shift the weight so that you're putting the weight through the heels, lifting the heels away from the ground, lifting the toes away from the ground, maybe shifting the weight onto the side of the foot, the other side of the foot, really circling the body. It might feel a little bit weird, but the more we get to know how the feet feel, the more precision we can find in our yoga poses. So knowing the feet is really the key to finding that balance and precision and stability in your yoga practice. So once you've had a little play around with the feet, we're all gonna lift the toes away from the ground. So you're keeping the rest of the feet completely on the ground, you're lifting the toes. We're going to do this 3 times. So I want you to think about placing the toes down, and as much as you can, try to separate the toes. So placing the big toe down and then the other toes down. Some yogis are able to place each toe down individually. I'm not quite that talented yet, but just lifting the toes up and then placing them back down will really help you to ground into the mat. So do that 2 more times together. Lift the toes up, and then with as much control as you can, spread them out, place them down. 1 more time. Inhale, lift those toes. And exhale, place them back down. Really nice. And then we're gently just going to lower ourselves down to the ground, come to find a seated position. We're sitting on our shins. Now, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but the next posture we're going to be doing is called screaming toe pose. Now, it is not a particularly comfortable position, but it is going to wake up your toes like nothing else. So you're going to start sitting on your shins, and you're just going to shift the weight forward and simply tuck the toes under. You want to make sure that you've not left the little toe behind, because often it can just get left out to the side. And then you're simply just going to sit back on the heels and place the weight through those toes. You might start to feel a sensation of burning, and like the pose suggests, your toes might be screaming at you to stop what you're doing, but just sit with it. We're not causing any damage here. We're actually creating a sensation of opening. The toes don't often move around, so when you create a little bit of a stretch, it feels really unusual to them, but the more time you sit with this posture, the easier you will find it. It's probably never going to be your favorite pose, but you'll find it slightly easier, and again, it's all for a good cause, which is finding more connection with the feet and therefore more balance in our yoga practice. I want you to close the eyes here. Just notice whether you can allow yourself to sit with this posture for 5 more breaths. I'll guide you through those breaths so you don't need to think about it. Together we inhale through the nose and exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. 2 more times. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Final time, you can do it. Inhale through the nose, exhale through the mouth. Then shift the weight forward, bring the hands onto the mat, release the toes, and then just slap the feet on the back of your mat just to bring a little bit of energy and blood back into that part of the body. All right, we're going to move into our tabletop position next. So you're in your hands and knees. Hands are underneath the shoulders, knees are underneath the hips, and you're going to send your right foot back behind you. Bring the right toes onto the ground. And we're just gently going to shift the weight forwards and backwards, forwards and backwards. Just gently, you'll feel that stretch through the backs of the legs. And of course, we're waking up the toes as we move backwards and forwards. I always find this one particularly nice after screaming toe pose because you get to move the toes around again and just bring a little bit of life back into them. We'll take one more deep breath in. And exhale, gently slow down, switch it over. Right knee comes back down to the ground and we send the left foot back behind us. Left toes come onto the mat and we shift the weight forwards and backwards, creating life and energy back into that left foot. Really allowing that stretch to be as big or as small as you feel like your body needs. So moving quickly or slowly, sending the heel right back, or maybe only moving really minutely. No right or wrong here, so you're just finding whatever feels best for you and your body. As we take one more deep breath, and gently we come back to that gentle tabletop position. Spread the fingers nice and wide, tuck the toes, and we peel the hips into the sky, downward facing dog. Now in downward dog, you do not need to have your heels on the ground and your legs don't need to be straight. So in this next little stretch that we're going to do, I'm going to instruct you to lift your heels away from the ground and then sink them back. By that, all I mean is we're lifting the heels as high as you can away from the ground. And when you sink them back, you're just sinking them back as far as you can. That doesn't mean they have to touch the ground. So with your next deep breath in, we lift those heels coming high on the toes. Exhale, we push the heels back behind us. Inhale, lift high. Exhale, sink the heels. Inhale, lifting on those toes. Really shift the weight into the front of the feet. Exhale, sink the heels back. 2 more times. Inhale, lifting high. Exhale, we sink back 1 more time. Inhale, lift as high as you can. Exhale, sink those heels really nice. With your next inhale, we look forward to those hands, and I want you to gently tiptoe the feet up. I say that because I want you to really feel the weight moving through your feet as you shift towards the front of the mat, finding a forward fold. Again, knees can be bent in this forward fold. Doesn't really matter what happens with the legs. We're focusing on the feet right now. And actually, having a bend in the knees might help you to bring your hands flat onto the ground, which will just help you to feel a little bit more stable in this next little section. And that is simply going to be, we're going to shift the weight forwards into the toes. I want your heels to stay on the ground. So play around with shifting the weight as far forward as you can without lifting the heels away from the ground. Nice. And then we'll do that the opposite way. Push the weight back into those heels, shifting the weight as far back as you can without lifting the toes. Do that once more each way. Send the weight forwards, lifting forwards until you just feel like your heels are about to lift, and then stopping there. And then shifting back, moving as far back as you can into those heels until those toes just want to lift up, but we're not letting them. And then we come back to center, really good. And finally, hands on the ground, we're just going to take a little pedal of the legs. So you're going to bend into one knee, lifting one heel, and then shift it over, pedaling as if you're on a bike. Take that 2 or 3 more times on each side. Just feeling a little release into the backs of the legs and of course into those toes as well. And then gently slow down. Inhale, we lift up halfway, hands to shins. Exhale, we soften the chest down. And then rooting through the feet, we inhale to sweep the hands up to the sky, lifting tall. Exhale, hands come to the heart space, we pause there. Really nice, guys. Take a big deep breath in gratitude for yourself for making it through that screaming toe pose. Horrible as it may feel, it will do wonders for your feet and for your yoga practice. Hope your feet feel nice and alive after that practice. Thank you for joining me, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.